The noose tightened around my neck like a lover's betrayal, the rope biting into my skin as the trapdoor dropped beneath my feet in that godforsaken Texas courthouse basement. I remember the metallic tang of blood in my mouth from where I'd bitten my tongue, the judge's gavel still echoing like a death knell from upstairs, sealing my fate for a crime I didn't commit. And in that final, gasping second, as the world blurred to black, I saw her face, my own mother's, twisted not in grief, but in cold satisfaction, whispering, "It's for the family, Iris. Always for the family." Then nothing. A void deeper than any regret I'd ever swallowed. Until the light cracked through again, not the pearly gates of some bullshit afterlife, but the harsh fluorescence of my childhood bedroom in our sprawling Austin McMansion, the alarm clock blaring 7 a.m. on the morning of my 20th birthday. My hands, my goddamn hands, shot up to my throat, smooth and unmarked, no scars from the hanging, no rope burns. I was back. 25 again, 3 years before the trial, before the lies that buried me alive. Mom's voice drifted up from the kitchen, calling me down for pancakes, as if she hadn't orchestrated my destruction. This time, I wouldn't choke on her syrupy lies. This time, I'd make her swallow them whole. I bolted upright in bed, heart slamming like a jackhammer against my ribs, the sheets tangled around me like restraints from a bad dream that had turned out to be my entire life. The room hadn't changed, posters of indie bands peeling at the edges, my old laptop humming on the desk, the faint scent of lavender from the diffuser Mom insisted on to keep the peace. But I had. The memories flooded in like a flash flood after a drought. Every whispered conversation, every forged document, every night I'd spent in a jail cell cursing the stars for aligning against me. I'd been the perfect daughter, the event planner extraordinaire, the one who turned my brother Ethan's sloppy engagement into the wedding of the century. And for what? A frame job, so seamless it got me convicted of embezzlement, swinging from the end of a rope when the appeals ran dry. Death by hanging, Texas style, efficient and final. Except it wasn't. Downstairs, the kitchen was a tableau of domestic bliss, the kind that hid rot beneath the formica. Dad was buried in his Wall Street journal, oblivious as always, sipping black coffee from a mug that said, "World's okayest dad." Ethan lounged at the island, scrolling his phone, his fiancée Lila perched beside him like a trophy, her blonde waves cascading perfectly over one shoulder. And Mom, God, Evelyn Harrington, queen of the PDA and master puppeteer, flitted about in her Lululemon yoga pants, flipping pancakes with the precision of a surgeon. "Iris, honey, birthday girl, get down here before these get cold." I paused at the threshold, gripping the doorframe until my knuckles whitened. This was it, the fork in the road where I'd once veered left into hell. 3 years ago, I'd smiled, hugged her, and dove headfirst into wedding planning, pouring my soul into every detail because that's what Harringtons did. We built facades. But now? Every fiber of me screamed to lunge across the counter and wrap my hands around her throat, to demand why she'd planted that evidence in my business accounts, siphoned funds through shell companies to cover her own gambling debts. The casino trips to Vegas, the high-stakes poker games with Austin's elite, secrets I'd uncovered too late, after she'd pinned it all on me to protect the family name. Instead, I forced a grin, the kind that didn't reach my eyes, and sauntered in. "Morning. Fam smells like victory. Or at least Aunt Jemima's finest." Ethan chuckled, Lila cooed something about how I looked radiant, and Dad grunted approval, without looking up. Mom slid a plate my way, piled high with pancakes drowning in syrup, her smile as sweet as the lie it masked. 25 looks good on you, sweetie. Big year ahead. Ethan's wedding won't plan itself. There it was, the hook sinking in. I forked a bite, chewing slowly, tasting the bitterness beneath the sugar. "Yeah," I said, meeting her gaze dead on for the first time in this reset life. "Big year. But let's talk brass tacks, Mom. How much are we really budgeting for the shindig? Because if it's the full Harrington treatment, I'm gonna need access to the family accounts. Today." Her fork paused midair, just a flicker, but I caught it, the microtel of a gambler bluffing. "Access? Oh, Iris, you know how your father is about the books. We'll handle it like always. Like always? I echoed, my voice light but laced with venom only she could hear. Meaning you and the accountant you trust more than your own blood? Ethan's brow furrowed. Lila shifted uncomfortably, but I pressed on, the words spilling like poison I'd bottled for years. Because last time I checked, those books have more skeletons than a Halloween store. But hey, what do I know? I'm just the daughter who makes miracles happen. The table fell silent, the kind of silence that stretches like taffy before snapping. Dad folded his paper, peering over his glasses. Everything all right, kiddo? Ethan shot me a look, brotherly concern mixed with that golden child annoyance. Mom recovered first, her laugh tinkling like wind chimes in a hurricane. Iris is just excited. Jet lag from that New York trip, probably. Eat up, honey. We've got vendor meetings today. Jet lag. Cute. In my first life, I'd swallowed that excuse and spent the next 6 months buried in spreadsheets, only to find the discrepancies buried deeper than Jimmy Hoffa. This time, I'd dig them up on day one. As we cleared the table, I slipped upstairs, firing up my laptop with fingers that trembled from adrenaline, not fear. A quick dive into the cloud backups, thank God for autosync, and there it was, the family financial portal, password still, Harrington Forever One, because irony was Mom's favorite accessory. Transactions flickered across the screen. $50,000 to YH Consulting on the first of every month, funneled to offshore accounts. YH, Evelyn Harrington. My own mother, bleeding the family dry to feed her vice, then framing me when the auditors came knocking. By noon, we were in the sun-drenched conference room of the downtown Austin event hall, the one with the exposed brick and chandeliers that screamed Southern chic. Lila prattled on about peonies and string quartets, Ethan nodding like a bobblehead, but my mind was a war room. Mom sat across from me, her manicured nails tapping the vendor binder I'd mocked up last night in a frenzy of reborn fury. Iris, darling, the cake, chocolate ganache with gold leaf. Extravagant, but it's their day. Their day, I repeated, flipping to the budget page I'd doctored with red flags. Speaking of, I've got some concerns here. These transfers to the florist? They don't match the invoices. And that miscellaneous line item, $20K? Care to enlighten me, Mom? Her eyes narrowed, just a fraction, but enough to confirm. She remembered nothing of the noose, the trial, the betrayal. To her, I was still the dutiful daughter, not the ghost haunting her ledger. It's handled, Iris. Focus on the vision board. I leaned in, voice dropping to a whisper that cut like glass. Handled like the Vegas tabs you think Dad doesn't know about? Or like the way you'll handle me when the money runs dry? The room spun toward us. Ethan's what the hell? Lila's gasp, but Mom's face drained of color, her mask cracking for the first time. Iris Marie Harrington, she hissed, not in front of your brother. Oh, Ethan should know. I shot back, the dam breaking. About how his perfect wedding is funded by Mom's poker losses. How she cooked the books through my company to cover it, then let me swing for it. Literally. The word swing hung there, heavy with the weight of my noose, and for a split second, I saw confusion flicker in her eyes. Had some cosmic echo reached her? No. Just guilt, raw and exposed. Ethan slammed his palm on the table. What is this bullshit? Mom? She recovered, tears welling like an Oscar contender. She's stressed, Ethan. Imagining things. Iris, we can talk later. Talk. I laughed, bitter and broken. We talked plenty in my first life, right before you testified against me. The vendors excused themselves awkwardly, the air thick with the scent of fresh orchids and fresh wounds. As we stormed out into the baking Texas sun, I knew I'd lit the fuse. But revenge wasn't a spark, it was a bonfire. And I was just warming up. The drive home was a funeral procession in Mom's gleaming SUV, the AC blasting cold air that did nothing to chill the heat rising in my chest. Ethan rode shotgun, silent fury radiating off him like exhaust from a tailpipe, Lila texting furiously in the back with me. Mom gripped the wheel, her knuckles bone-white, lips pressed into a line that could have cut glass. "You have no idea what you're doing, Iris," she finally spat, eyes fixed on the highway dotted with billboards for Whataburger and megachurches. "I know exactly," I replied, staring out at the endless flatlands, the scrub brush blurring into memories of barbed wire and orange jumpsuits. "I know about the $300,000 you lost at the Bellagio last summer. The high roller suite, the private jet back when Dad thought it was a girls' trip. I know you used my event planning LLC as a front, falsified invoices for non-existent weddings, routing the cash to your bookie in Reno. And when the IRS started sniffing, you planted the trail straight to me. Forged my signature on the wire transfers, even hacked my email to send those dummy confirmations." Her head whipped around, nearly swerving us into a semi. "How?" "Doesn't matter." It did, of course. The hours I'd pieced it together in prison, bribing a guard for a contraband phone, calling in favors from old college buddies who'd gone legit in cybersecurity. But in this life, I'd short-circuited the pain, jumping straight to the kill shot. What matters is Ethan's wedding. The one I planned down to the monogrammed cocktail napkins. You remember the rehearsal dinner? The one where you accidentally spiked my drink with enough Xanax to make me slur through my maid of honor toast? Set me up to look unreliable, unhinged, right before the money trail blew up. Ethan turned, his face a mask of betrayal.
"Mom?
Is this true?" She pulled over onto the shoulder, gravel crunching under the tires, the highway humming with oblivious traffic. Tears streamed now, genuine or not. I couldn't tell anymore. "Ethan, baby, it's not like that. Iris has always been
dramatic.
Jealous, maybe, of your happiness. I was protecting us. The business, the house, your future. A few loans, nothing more." She volunteered to handle the books. Volunteered? I snorted, unbuckling and stepping out into the blistering heat, the door slamming like a judge's gavel. "You guilt me into it, remember? Family first, Iris. Show me you're not the disappointment. And for my birthday? You banished me from the planning after I questioned the budget. Said I was too emotional to be trusted. Next thing I know, cops are at my door with a warrant." Lila followed me out, her heels sinking into the dirt, hand on my arm. "Iris, this is insane. Are you okay?" "Okay?" I died choking on air. My last thought a curse for the brother who'd believed her lies over mine, the mother who'd birthed me only to bury me. "Peachy," I said, forcing a smile. "Just rewriting history. Call it a family reunion with teeth." Back in the car, the argument devolved into white noise, Mom's sobs, Ethan's accusations, Dad's incoming texts demanding explanations. By the time we hit the driveway, lined with crepe myrtles heavy with pink blooms, the house felt like a powder keg. I grabbed my keys, announcing, "I'm out. Got a hotel reservation in town. Figure your shit out, Harringtons."
"But Ethan?"
"Your wedding's still on. I'll make it perfect. Just don't blame me when the cake tastes like regret." Mom lunged after me, grabbing my wrist in the foyer, her nails digging in like barbs. "You can't do this. You're ruining everything." I wrenched free, inches from her face, close enough to see the Botox lines around her eyes, the faint tremor of withdrawal. "No, Evelyn.
You ruined me. Hung me out to dry.
But this time, I'm the one tying the knots." I left her there, door clicking shut behind me, the echo ringing like the drop of a trapdoor. The Driscoll Hotel downtown was old money charm, plush rugs, crystal chandeliers, the faint scent of bourbon in the lobby bar. I checked in under my maiden name, the one I'd shed for Harrington glory, and holed up in a suite overlooking Congress Avenue. Laptop open, I went to work, emailing my lawyer contact from law school, a pitbull named Marco who'd gotten me pro bono advice in the first life before it was too late. Suspected fraud in family business, I typed, attaching screenshots of the ledgers. Need forensic accounting yesterday. Then, the vendors, a mass text chain firing them up with incentives, double pay if they held the date, triple if they could verify payments against Mom's bogus invoices. By midnight, my phone buzzed with replies, Florist confirming discrepancies, caterer whispering about shady checks from Consulting. Marco called at 2 a.m., voice gravelly from a cigar habit. Iris, this is a goddamn hornet's nest. Embezzlement, money laundering, your mom's in deep with some Vegas syndicates. You sure you want to poke it? Poke. I laughed into the dark, the city lights twinkling like distant gunfire. I'm lighting the match. Just get me the proof. And Marco? Discreet. I want her to sweat before she swings. Sleep came fitful, haunted by rope burns that weren't there, but morning brought clarity. Ethan's text flooded in. WTF, Iris? Mom's a wreck. Call me. Lila's were softer. Here if you need to talk. This is messed up. Dad's? Radio silence, per usual. I ignored them, heading to my old office space in a trendy South Congress co-working hub. Vintage signs, exposed pipes, millennials nursing oat milk lattes. My desk was untouched, binders stacked like tombstones. First order, the wedding website. I'd built it myself, a glossy affair with RSVPs, registries, even a live stream option for out-of-towners. Now I hacked the back-end, easy, since I'd coded it, and embedded a subtle redirect. Every visitor's IP logged, every donation to the honeymoon fund, traced back to Mom's accounts. Controversial? Hell yes. Illegal?
Borderline.
But in the Game of Thrones we called family, rules were for the hanged. Ethan showed up at noon, bursting through the glass doors in khakis and a button-down, looking every bit the golden boy tech bro. Iris, what the fuck? Mom's talking divorce, Dad's threatening to freeze everything. Lila's crying. Good, I said, not looking up from my screen. Let it burn. You want to know why I snapped? Because in another life, one where I didn't wake up choking on my own noose, I planned your dream wedding. Catered oysters from Galveston, fireworks over Lady Bird Lake, a string quartet playing that indie playlist you love. I poured $100,000 of my savings into it, only for Mom to use it as collateral for her debts. When it all collapsed, she let me take the fall. Prison, trial, execution. Ring any bells? He blinked, collapsing into the chair opposite me. Execution? Iris, you're scaring me. That's not real. I shoved my phone at him, a grainy news clip from 3 years hence. Austin woman hanged for embezzlement in rare Texas ruling. My face, younger, haunted, staring out from a mugshot. Read the article. Or don't. But believe this. I died for her sins.
And now, I'm collecting.
His face crumpled, the brother I'd idolized. 2 years older, always the favorite, reduced to a kid again. Why didn't you say something sooner? Sooner? I echoed, voice cracking for the first time. I did. Emails, voicemails, that family dinner where I begged you to look at the books. You chose her. The perfect mom, the one who bankrolled your startup. Blood's thicker, right? We sat there, the hum of printers and coffee machines filling the void, until he whispered, What now? The wedding. Goes on, I said firmly. But on my terms. No more Mom's money. I'll crowdfund it if I have to, tell the guests it's a vintage theme, DIY chic. And in return, you help me nail her. Get Dad on board. Or walk away, Ethan. Choose. He chose tentatively, but he chose. By evening, we were at a dive bar on Rainy Street, neon signs buzzing over sticky floors, nursing Shiner box while he spilled his own suspicions, Mom's late-night calls, the business trips that left Dad sleeping alone. I thought it was an affair, he admitted.
Not this.
It's worse, I said, clinking bottles. But together, we end it. The plan coalesced over greasy tacos. Ethan would confront Dad, pull the financials. I'd loop in the vendors for affidavits. Marco's team would build the case. Controversial decisions loomed. Leaking to the press? Planting a tracker on her phone? But as the night wore on, buzzed and bonded, I felt the first crack in my armored heart. Maybe this rebirth wasn't just for revenge. Maybe it was for redemption.
But Mom?
She wasn't done scheming. 2 weeks blurred into a frenzy of double lives. By day, wedding whirlwind, tastings at Franklin Barbecue, dress fittings where Lila twirled in ivory silk, venue walk-throughs under the Texas skies streaked with contrails. By night, War Council. Ethan's apartment became HQ, laptops glowing with transaction maps, Dad's reluctant confessions over scotch. I knew about the shopping sprees, not the tables. Marco delivered gold, emails from Mom to her bookie, pleading for extensions, promising family assets as collateral. She fought dirty, of course. Anonymous tips to my clients, whispers of my instability at the country club. One morning, I found my co-working space vandalized, binders shredded, hard drives smashed. Sloppy, Evelyn, I muttered, salvaging what I could. But the real gut punch came at the bridesmaid luncheon, a pastel nightmare at a hill country vineyard, rolling hills dotted with longhorns. Lila's friends cooed over charcuterie, but Mom cornered me by the infinity pool, her sundress fluttering like a flag of truce. Iris, stop this madness. I admit I borrowed, but it was for us. Your father's firm was tanking. Ethan's app needed seed money. I fixed it. Borrowed, I hissed, wineglass trembling in my hand. You stole from me, and you'd do it again. The other women pretended not to hear, but Lila's bestie shot me a side eye. Her voice dropped, venomous. You think you're so smart, playing detective, but blood tells Iris. Ethan will side with me. Always has. I stepped closer. The pool's edge a metaphor too on the nose. Test him. See how that golden boy likes learning Mommy Dearest funded his launchpad pitch with laundered cash. A pause, then the twist of the knife. Or push me too far, and I'll make sure your next game is in federal lockup. No get-out-of-jail-free card for Harringtons. She slapped me, crisp, echoing across the terrace. Gasps rippled. Lila rushed over, but I held up a hand, tasting copper on my lip. Worth it, I said, smiling through the sting. Every drop. The slap was the spark. That night, Ethan blew up my phone. Mom confessed, partially. Dad's filing for separation. What have we done? We met at Zilker Park, the Barton Springs glow casting shadows on joggers and dogwalkers, the air thick with chlorine and regret. We woke up, I said, sitting on a bench slick with dew. She played God with our lives. Now she pays the piper. But the wedding, he started, is your anchor, I finished. Not hers. We'll pull it off leaner, meaner. Invite only potluck style if we have to. Make it real, Ethan. Not her facade. He nodded, but doubt lingered in his eyes. You're different, Iris. Harder. That story about dying. Truth. I cut in, the words heavy as hemp. One push too far, and she hanged me for her sins. This, it's mercy. As he walked away, I pulled out my phone, dialing Marco. Accelerate. I want warrants by rehearsal dinner. The climax brewed like a thunderstorm over the plains, humidity thickening, skies bruising purple. Rehearsal night. The venue, a rustic barn on the outskirts, fairy lights twinkling against weathered wood, the hill country breeze carrying hints of wildflowers and whiskey. Guests milled, cousins from Houston, Lila's sorority sisters, Dad stoic in a corner with a flask. Ethan paced, tux crisp, while Lila radiated nerves in her rehearsal gown. Mom arrived late, a vision in emerald silk, arm linked with her sister from the club. A buffer, I guessed. She avoided my gaze, but I felt it. The predator sizing up prey. Dinner unfolded tense, speeches laced with subtext, toasts that clinked like handcuffs. Then, as dessert hit the tables, mini pecan pies oozing caramel, Marco's text lit my screen. Package delivered.
En route.
Stall.
Stall. Right.
I stood, glass raised, the barn falling silent. To Ethan and Lila, may your love outlast the lies we tell to keep it. Murmurs. Mom's fork scraped porcelain. Speaking of lies. Mom, care to share why the florist's demanding cash for tonight's arrangements? Or why the caterer's invoice traces to a Cayman account? Chaos erupted. Ethan's Iris, not now. Lila's hand on his arm, Dad's chair scraping back. Mom rose, face thunderous. Enough.
You've poisoned them against me.
For what? Some vendetta. Vendetta? I laughed, stepping onto the dance floor, spotlight harsh. Try survival. You framed me once. Killed me even. But this time, sirens wailed distant, closing in. Guests whispered, phones out, live tweeting the Harrington implosion. Her eyes widened, a glitch in the matrix. Killed you? What are you? The barn doors burst open, blue lights flashing, uniforms flooding in. Evelyn Harrington? You're under arrest for fraud, embezzlement, and conspiracy. Cuffs clicked. She thrashed, screaming my name like a curse. Iris. You bitch, I'll ruin you. Ethan froze. Lila clung to him. Dad watched impassive. As they led her away, past the arch of roses I'd arranged, our eyes locked. No remorse, just pure hate. You did this, she spat. No, I whispered, close enough for only her. You did. Swing high, Mom. The wedding dawned crisp, October sun gilding the hills, the barn scrubbed of last night's drama. 50 guests, the loyalists, filtered in, buzzing with gossip from the morning news. Heiress Mom busted in wedding sting. Ethan stood at the altar, pale but resolute, Lila gliding down the aisle in lace that whispered like secrets. I, maid of honor in sage silk, handed off the bouquet with a nod. You got this. Vows exchanged, rings slipped on, the kiss sealing it amid applause. But as the quartet struck up first dance, Ethan pulled me aside, under the oak draped in lights. She called from holding. Wants to talk.
Says.
She knows. About the other time. My blood iced. What? Claims she dreamed it. You, the rope, the trial. Begging forgiveness. He searched my face. Iris, is it true?
Did you come back?
The twist hit like whiplash, the universe's final joke. Had my death echoed into her subconscious? A karmic leak? Or just a desperate bluff? I glanced at the horizon, where cop cars still idled, taking her away in truth this time. Doesn't matter, I said, throat tight. It's over. But as the cake cut, chocolate ganache, gold leaf gleaming, and laughter filled the air, I felt it. Not victory, but hollow. Ethan danced with Lila. Dad cornered a reporter for spin control. Guests toasted resilience.
Me?
I slipped out to the porch, the night air cool, stars pricking the velvet sky. Forgiveness?
No.
But closure, twisted, controversial, American as apple pie a la mode. Mom would rot in white-collar hell, Ethan rebuild, Lila none the wiser.
And me?
Reborn, unhanged, I'd plan my own escape. A one-way ticket to New York, event firm rebranded, no Harrington strings. As fireworks cracked overhead, my one extravagance, I whispered to the dark. Happy ending? Close enough. The noose was gone, but the scars? They'd make one hell of a tattoo. The fallout from the wedding hit like a Category 5 hangover, head pounding, regrets swirling, but no turning back the clock. Not that I could. I'd already stolen that trick from the cosmos. Monday morning found me in a corner booth at Kirby Lane Cafe, the quintessential Austin haunt with its turquoise booths and murals of live oaks, nursing Amiga's plate while scrolling headlines on my phone. Socialite Evelyn Harrington arrested mid-wedding rehearsal. Daughter's revenge? The byline twisted my gut. Revenge? Tried justice, served with a side of brisket. But the comments? A cesspool. Family drama gold. Poor Ethan, caught in the crossfire. Iris sounds like a psycho, framing her own mom? Psycho. The word stung, echoing the shrink's reports from my first trial. Delusional tendencies, possible Munchausen by proxy. Mom's doing, of course, slipping psych meds into my coffee, staging episodes to undermine my credibility. I shoveled eggs into my mouth, the queso dripping like molten accusation, and texted Ethan. Press tour? Or we ghost? His reply buzzed instant. Ghost. Lila's freaking. Meet at mine? Noon. Ethan's loft in East Austin was hipster heaven, reclaimed wood beams, Edison bulbs, a kitchen island scarred from charcuterie nights. Lila paced when I arrived, barefoot in yoga pants, her engagement ring catching the light like a distress signal. Iris, the blogs. They're saying you orchestrated it all for clout. That you leaked the ledgers yourself. I dropped my bag, the thud echoing. Clout? Sweetie, if I wanted fame, I'd TikTok my new scar. Her eyes widened. Ethan's hand found her shoulder from the couch. Not helping, he muttered. Truth helps, I countered, sinking into an armchair that smelled faintly of patchouli. Look, the leak? Marco's team controlled, to force her hand. But the blogs? That's Mom's PR machine spinning from her cell. Classic Evelyn. Victim card, played to perfection. Lila stopped pacing, perching on the coffee table, knees tucked like a kid confessing. But why now? The wedding was perfect until the cops. We could have postponed, talked it out family style. Family style got me killed, I said, sharper than intended. They both flinched. Ethan rubbed his temples. Iris, that again. The article, it's bullshit, right? Hyperbole? I met his gaze. The brother who'd once pushed me on the tire swing, now a stranger navigating my ghost story.
No hyperbole.
3 years from now, in the timeline you don't remember, Mom's death snowball. She frames me fully. Plants $500,000 in my accounts, tips off the feds. Trial's a circus. You testify she was devastated by my greed. Appeals fail. Texas executes fast. Lethal injection was clogged, so they dusted off the gallows. Last words? Tell Ethan I forgive him.
Didn't stick.
Silence stretched, broken only by the distant hum of a food truck generator. Lila whispered, God, Iris.
That's
horrific. Ethan looked gutted, like I'd handed him a mirror reflecting his future sins. So yeah, I continued softer. The wedding was my white whale. Plan it right, expose her clean, that's the reboot. Controversial? Abso-fucking-lutely. But hanging's a tough act to follow. We hashed it out over takeout faux strategy, not sobs. Ethan would handle Dad's divorce lawyers, carve out his inheritance clean. Lila, bless her, offered her graphic design chops for a rebrand, Harrington Events, to Iris Bloom Productions.
Me?
I'd testify at Mom's arraignment, lay out the noose in open court. Make it a spectacle, I said, slurping noodles. Turn her mask to ash. Arraignment day dawned muggy. The Travis County Courthouse, a squat brutalist beast, all concrete and echoing halls smelling of stale coffee and desperation. I slipped in back, incognito in sunnies and a ball cap, but the gallery buzzed, reporters from The Statesman, a true crime podcast with a man bun. Mom shuffled in, orange jumpsuit clashing with her teased hair, no makeup to hide the crow's feet. The judge, a grizzled vet named Harlan, banged gavel, charges read. Wire fraud, identity theft, conspiracy to commit murder? Wait, murder? My blood ran cold. Marco leaned in from the row behind. Her bookie's talking. Says she hired a fixer to handle you permanently if the frame failed. That's the twist, Iris. She didn't just want you jailed. Dead.
Dead.
The word looped, syncing with the rope's phantom sway. As her lawyer blustered bail, Mom scanned the crowd, locking on me. No fear, defiance, lips curling in a smile that said, game on. I smiled back, mouthing, swing. Bail denied. She was remanded, the gallery erupting in flashes. Outside, vultures swarmed. Miss Bloom. Was it revenge porn for the family? I dodged, but one slipped through, a slick Channel 7 anchor. Mike thrust like a sword. Your mother's calling it a daughter's betrayal. Response. Betrayal? I whirled, ripping off the cap, hair tumbling wild. Try matricide by Ledger. She killed my career, my freedom, hell, my life. Ask her about the gallows she greased. The clip went viral by lunch. Noose of justice trending, memes of me as a vengeful angel, complete with halo noose. Ethan called frantic. You're blowing up. Dad's pissed, says you're turning us into a Netflix special. Lila chimed in on speaker. But empowering? Women scorning the villain mom? Empowering's the goal, I said, weaving through 6th Street crowds, buskers strumming for tips. But controversial's the cost. Own it. The cost mounted fast. Clients bailed. Too messy. One texted, the wedding planner who'd once begged for my scraps. Protests popped. Mom's church ladies picketing my office with signs. Honor thy mother. Repent, Iris. Online it polarized. Feminists hailing me as reborn boss bitch, trads decrying feminazi filial destruction. I thrived on the edge, booking gigs with edgier clients, queer weddings in warehouses, corporate retreats with trust falls that echoed my own plummet. But cracks showed. Nightmares returned. Not the hanging, but Mom's dream whisper. That eerie I know from the jail call. Was it bleed through? Quantum bullshit from my reset? I confided in Lila over margaritas at the Roosevelt Room, the speakeasy's velvet booths muffling our secrets. She says she dreamed it all. I admitted, salt rimming my glass like a wound. Me dying, you two marrying without me. Thinks it's a sign to forgive. Lila swirled her drink, ice clinking judgment. Forgive? After attempted murder? Iris, that's trauma bonding. Classic abuser playbook. Or truth. I sighed, the tequila burning truth serum. In my old life, I loved her, fiercely, stupidly. Planned her 60th with hot air balloons over the lake. Maybe that's why I came back, not just revenge, but release. She squeezed my hand. Release doesn't mean absolution. Write the book. Noosed by family or whatever. Catharsis City.
The book.
The idea sparked, wild and reckless. I pitched it to an agent that week, a firebrand named Tessa, all red lipstick and New York bite. Revenge lit with a supernatural hook?
Sold.
But lean into the controversy, the slap, the sirens, the I hanged for her sins. Make, and debate if you're hero or harpy.
Harpy. Fitting.
As fall deepened, leaves turning the Colorado River banks to fire, the case ramped. Discovery phase, depositions where Mom's allies crumbled, the accountant admitting coercion, the bookie flipping for immunity. Ethan testified, voice steady. She pitted us against each other. Iris saved me from that. Dad? He thawed, inviting me for Thanksgiving at his condo. Turkey dry, but the talk wet with apology. I failed you both, he said, carving knife trembling. Thought providing meant presents. Wrong. Forgiven, I said, passing the gravy. Not entirely, but close. The table small, just us, Ethan, Lila, no Mom's ghost hovering. Then, the twist within the twist, a letter smuggled from lockup, Mom's scrawl jagged on yellow legal pad. Iris, the dream was real. I felt your neck snap, heard your gasp. God punish me through you. Forgive, or we'll both hang eternal. Chills raced. Was this her play, gaslight from bars? Or proof the veil thinned, my death rippling both ways? I burned it in the sink, flames licking like vindication. But doubt lingered, a shadow in my reborn light. Winter crept in with a vengeance, sleet sheeting Congress Avenue, holiday lights mocking the chill. The book deal landed. 6 figures, ghostwriter optional, but I claimed it solo. Raw voice, Tessa insisted. Your noose is the hook. I wrote in fever bursts, cafe hopping from Joe's to Epoch, words pouring like confession, the hooks of betrayal, the nooses bite, the wedding's phoenix rise. Controversy crested at the hearing, Mom's plea deal on the table. 5 years, restitution, no murder charge if she spilled on the syndicate. The courtroom packed, TV crews jockeying. I took the stand in a power suit, hair pinned like armor. Your Honor, she didn't just steal money. She stole my breath. Planned my end when the lies cracked. Mom, across the aisle, met my eyes, not hate now, but hollow. The judge eyed her. Ms. Harrington, anything? She rose, chains rattling. My daughter speaks truth. I dreamed her death, knew before it happened. God, karma, whatever, it broke me. I plead guilty. To all. Gasps, flashes popped.
Guilty.
The word landed soft, no drama, just finality. As bailiffs let her out, she mouthed, sorry.
Real?
I couldn't parse. But the gavel fell, sentence handed. 8 years, no parole. Outside, Ethan hugged me fierce. It's over. Almost, I whispered, the sleep melting on my cheeks. Rain or tears, who knew? Spring bloomed defiant in Austin. Bluebonnets carpeting the highways, the air electric with South by Southwest buzz and unspoken reckonings. The book dropped mid-festival. Noosed again. A daughter's rebirth and reckoning. Cover a silhouette against Texas stars. Rope subtle in the shadows. Launch at book people packed the block. Fans in Team Iris tees. Skeptics clutching pitchfork signs. Profit from pain? I read from the hook chapter. Voice steady. The drop, the snap. That's when I knew. Not dead, but drafted for round 2. Q&A turned battlefield. A church mom grilled. Isn't this vengeful? Biblical? A queer activist cheered. Fuck biblical. This is survival it. Ethan and Lila flanked me, his arm around her growing bump. Surprise announcement. The kind that mends fractures. Dad hovered, proud awkward, toasting with Waterloo's sparkling water. Sales soared. Podcasts clamored. Reborn or bullshit? One titled, Dissecting My Delusions. I leaned in. Call it crazy. I call it clarity. The controversy fueled it. Debates on CNN, threads on Reddit r/true crime, where users pieced my dream, with mom's confession like puzzle of the damned. Was it shared hallucination?
Ne de echo?
Or just damn good storytelling? Mom wrote again, monthly now, from Gatesville, her letters a mix of remorse and mania. The dreams continue, Iris. Your wedding, my cell, looping like a curse. I see the rope on me now. I archived them. Therapy fodder for my shrink. A no-nonsense Latina named Rosa who chain-smoked menthols outside sessions. Boundaries, Mija, she'd say. Revenge reborn?
Fine.
But don't let her haunt your happily ever after. Ever after. The phrase mocked as I rebuilt. Iris Bloom Productions thrived, booking destination gigs, Napa elopements, Miami galas. Ethan and Lila's baby shower? My masterpiece. Gender-neutral under the oaks. Piñatas stuffed with onesies. No mom ghosts invited. But the call came mid-setup. Lila in a sundress blooming like the hills. Iris? Hospital. Early labor. Chaos. I drove like hell, weaving 6th Street tourists, arriving to sterile halls and Ethan's ashen face. She's okay, boy, 6 pounds.
But.
Complication. Preeclampsia. The NICU wait stretched eternal, monitors beeping like Morse code dread. I paced, whispering prayers to a god I'd cursed from the gallows. Dawn broke with good news, stable, tiny fists waving defiance. They named him Jasper, after Dad's middle. Holding him, swaddled in blue, Ethan's eyes met mine over the bundle. You saved us, sis. From her, from everything. Not saved, I murmured, finger tracing the babe's palm. Just retried. The happy arc bent with summer's heat, Mom's appeal denied, her letters turning frantic. The dreams, their warnings. Syndicates out.
They know you talked.
Chills, Marco confirmed. Her bookie, paroled early, sniffing for loose ends. Low threat, he growled over burner phone. But watch your 6. I did, cameras at the office, pepper spray in my purse, a Glock course on weekends because Texas and trauma make strange bedfellows. Controversial? Arming a wedding planner? The tabloids ate it. Noose girl goes NRA. But safety's no punchline when shadows whisper your name. The real twist dropped Labor Day weekend. Barbecue at Ethan's, brisket slow smoking, shiner flowing, Jasper gurgling on a quilt. Dad manned the grill, flip-flops and a grin. When the gate creaked, a woman mid-40s, sun-bleached hair, envelope in hand. Iris Bloom? From Evelyn. The yard stilled. Ethan tensed. I took it, cool as the beer sweat on my palm. Inside, alone, I tore it open, not Mom's scrawl but typed clinical. Confession. Evelyn hired me, 2028. To ensure your silence, permanently. Plan A, frame.
Plan B, accident.
You reset? Lucky bitch. But debts don't die. Pay up or the baby's next. A photo clipped. Jasper's hospital wristband, time-stamped yesterday. Rage boiled, pure and primal. No more games. I called Marco, voice steel. Full court press. Expose the syndicate, names, dates, all. Then Ethan. Family meeting.
Now.
We circled wagons, Dad lawyering up, Lila's family flying in from Dallas, even Rosa crashing with crisis protocols. The press? I fed them crumbs. Threats from Mom's past, Harrington air and hiding. Controversy peaked, protests at the prison, free Evelyn, she was protecting us, countered by my rallies. No more nooses and family fraud. Climax crashed mid-October under a harvest moon. Tip from an insider. The bookies' hideout, a rundown ranch outside Round Rock. Feds swarmed, but I couldn't sit idle. Controversial decision numero uno. I tailed them. Rental car hugging the dark, heart thundering like bass at ACL. Parked a mile out. I hiked scrub, thorns snagging like accusations, until lights flashed, raid in motion. Gunfire popped, distant, sharp. Then silence. I crept closer, folly be damned, when a figure bolted. The woman from the photo, sprinting my way, eyes wild. You, she snarled, lunging with a knife glint. Instinct, reborn reflex, kicked. I sidestepped, heel to her knee, dropping her like a bad bluff. For Jasper, I hissed, zip-tying her wrists with a coil from my pack. Wedding planner prep meets vigilante vibe. Feds swooped, cuffing her proper. Lead agent nodded grim. Bloom?
Ballsy.
We got whole crew. Back home, Dawn gilding the blinds, Ethan poured coffee, Lila cradling Jasper. Heard on scanner. You okay? Breathing, I said, collapsing onto the couch, the adrenaline crash hitting like a hangover. They sang, Mom's deep in it, but so's half the Austin elite. Ponzi wedding funds, laundered through events. My events. Dad entered, paper in hand. Front page. Noose girl nabs nemesis. Proud kid.
Proud.
The word warmed, thawing the last frost. Mom's trial, the big one, loomed November, federal now. Circus scaled up. I testified again, no suit this time, jeans and boots, Texas tough. She didn't just betray. She built an empire on my bones. The syndicate crumbled, please stacking like dominoes, Mom. She took the stand, broken, spilling empires. The dreams. They were her. Iris, coming back. Judgment. Jury out 2 hours. Guilty. 25 to life. No appeal. As sentence dropped, her eyes found mine, not hate, not hollow, but haunted. Thank you, she mouthed. For the end? Or the echo? Outside, media maelstrom, but I walked free, literally metaphorically. Book 2 inked, unroped, thriving after the fall. Tours, TED Talks, a foundation for fraud victims. Noose no more. Funding legal aid for the framed. Years blurred. Jasper's first steps on Zilker grass. Ethan's app IPO toasting under fireworks. Dad's remarriage to a rancher with laugh lines. Lila and I, sisters forged in fire, co-parenting chaos.
Me?
New York beckoned, but Austin held, roots deep as bluebonnets. One night, rooftop bar overlooking the Capitol, shiner in hand, Ethan clinked. Happy, Iris? For real. I scanned the skyline, alive with possibility, no shadows lurking. Reborn? Yeah. But the best part? Living. The noose? Faded scar, tattooed over with Phoenix ink. Mom's letters stopped. Dreams too, hers and mine. Closure, controversial to the end, happy, hard one, utterly American.